Embarking on a journey through the cosmos. Galaxies shine with every step we take. Voyagers of time and space, we wander. Uncharted paths, our destinies will make. Drifting through timelines. Drifting through timelines. Stars unfold their stories in the twilight. Travelers intertwine in cosmic streams. With every pulse, new horizons waiting. Futures born from yesterday's lost dreams. Drifting through timelines. Drifting through timelines. Navigate the starlit mysteries. Wormholes flicker, calling us to fly. Every leap a note in endless symphonies. Together we glide through universal seas of stars. Drifting through timelines. Drifting through timelines.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Sci-Fi Historian, and welcome to my 9th episode of my Sci-Fi TV shows, movies, and pop culture discussions. And please welcome to the panel, the one, the only PvP. Hello, PvP. Thanks for stopping by.
Oh, hi, Dan. Yeah, happy to stop by.
All right. All right, and everyone on the panel and in the audience, let's give PvP a nice round of applause.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
we got to build up your ego for you as we come to this premiere of BC for you.
Sure. Oh, boy.
All right, and on to some sci-fi news from what I hear. If you haven't heard of this already in the sci-fi circles, surprise, surprise, Amazon canceled the new Stargate show.
Sorry, I had to mute for a second again. Yeah, actually, Jill was talking about it on her Friday stream yesterday. That it got mentioned, and it doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense because apparently it sounded like it was actually going to be good, like something the fans might actually want to watch. So they go ahead and cancel it. Like, I don't see it makes no sense. But I don't have any backstory on it, what actually happened. But it seems kind of odd if they're, going to develop it and then just end up canceling it anyway. That's just, I don't know.
Well, I think some more information has leaked out, and since then, there's a rumor going around in a few articles that sci-fi fans or sci-fi enthusiasts are reading about. From what I hear, the Amazon and the writer had creative differences because the creator wanted to stick more to the Stargate lore and the character building and all that universe, and the Amazon wanted a soft reboot or full-on reboot in general.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, if Amazon had any, it's all about the showrunner. I think the success, creative success of any show depends on the showrunner, overseeing it, and of course the writers fall under that tent, so to speak. Uh, but if they had a writer that wanted to, respect the lore that the fans have been watching for decades, then Amazon, if they had a half a brain, should have just sat back and let it happen. Because when they start, things often go sideways when studios start meddling with the creative talent that they've hired. I mean, you either trust the talent you've hired and let them do their job creatively, or you don't. And if you're not going to, trust the talent you hire, then you might as well hire a bunch of hacks, because then they're going to just screw it up from the start. Which is, they might as well, if you're not going to respect, you get a good talented staff, and then you don't listen to them. I mean, it's like what would be the classic example? I know, I have an example. Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda. Uh, First season they had Robert Hewitt Wolf, who had some connections with Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Good writer, um, knew his stuff. They brought him in season one as the showrunner, and he did a really good job. Developed the basic outlines that Gene Roddenberry had left behind for the Andromeda series, and he developed it into a working concept. Got some good writers together. The first, I think, 22 episodes of season, I think it was. First season was actually really solid. A lot of really good episodes. Some excellent episodes, in fact. The cast was good. Had a chemistry. The characters were pretty interesting overall. It had an overarching plot line, but basically the episodes were still like standalone, episodes week to week. So you didn't have to watch it in a particular order necessarily to understand what it was about, because there was enough backstory, floating around through the episodes to kind of give you a general idea of what was going on. Uh, but then, of course, they fired Wolf at the end of season one, and they brought in, I think. Well, the thing is, I think it was Kevin Sorbo, the star of the series, who had a big ego apparently, and he wanted Wolf gone because I guess they weren't getting along at times. Sorbo had his own ideas for what he wanted the show to be. I think he wanted, well, basically, you start watching season two and you realize pretty fast it's become the Kevin Sorbo show. Not Gene Roddenberry. It's Kevin Sorbo's Andromeda now. At the start of season two, and then they started having problems. The actor that played Rev Bem, the alien, got a terrible allergy to the makeup, so they had to put a rubber mask on him, and it just didn't really work. It was okay, but it wasn't the same. And then they started meddling with the characters, and like they totally changed Trance, the purple girl. That she was one of my favorite characters. And then they halfway through season two, they totally changed her into basically a different character. Totally transformed her look, her personality, and everything. And so if you're going to hire good people to produce something, let them do it. But if the studio starts meddling, then it's going to fall apart. And I guess it sounds like maybe that's what happened in the case with Amazon this time.
Yeah, from what I hear, Andromeda, the first two seasons well, were good-ish. Then season three onwards, it started to fall apart real fast.
Well, I think season one overall, I loved it, and there's a lot of fan buzz in season one. Like there were a lot of websites fans were putting up on the internet. I remember, and it was really popular. Like there was definitely a fan base growing. They were very enthusiastic, and I'd say overall season one was excellent. The first half of season two was decent. I would say it had some good episodes. Second half of season two is when it really started to fall apart. And then after that, season 3 and 4 were hit and miss, generally miss. Occasionally they'd have a great episode. I remember, I think there was one in either, I think it was in maybe season 4 where they had Tony Todd in an episode that was really quite excellent. I remember that one particular episode, though I don't remember the details of the plot anymore. But and then season 5 rolled around and it was horrible. Season 5 was just almost unwatchable, even though I did watch it because I was, I was a diehard follower of the show, so I figured I might as well just watch this thing till it, till it dies, which it basically was dying in season 5 because it was bad, bad, bad.
I haven't watched all of a drama. Tell me, did they wrap up most of the semi story threads in season 5, or did they leave it open a little bit?
Well, the thing is, I think a lot of it was on like a location, like they were on a planet or something. So we didn't even see the Andromeda spaceship, I don't think, most of the time. And then they brought in some blonde chick. I guess they figured if they brought in a hot blonde, that would somehow boost the ratings, which I don't think it did, because I think the show was pretty well in the tank by that time. I just remember a lot of stories. Sorbo kind of, wandering around on this planet, and it just didn't seem like anything ever went anywhere, or nothing really much of interest happened. And I think in the last episode or two, they tried to wrap the series up, but even then, it was probably so uninteresting that I can't remember any details. Like season 5 was kind of like a blur in my memory of just mostly just basically bad to mediocre at best episodes that didn't really have a lot to say and didn't really go anywhere. So it was getting pretty pointless by the last season. Yeah.
I do have a genuine question. I mean, I am a Stargate fan to a point, but I mean, I'm a Star Wars, but the Stargate, if you go by the lore, or if they want to continue the show, they have to do a lot of exposition in the first few episodes to sort of semi-discuss what happened in the last, Stargate or SG-1 or Stargate universe ended in 2010, I think it is. So they have to explain 16 years of backstory if they do it that way. If they did, how do you explain what happened in the last 16 years? That's a lot of catch up. Like what happened to the Wraith? What happened to the Jafar Nation? What happened to the Destiny expedition? How powerful is Earth now? Do they reveal the Stargate program? Are they now a major universal power now, or are they still in my fan fiction story, they are a regional Milky Way galaxy power to make them more equal. But those are the questions the new Stargate franchise had to answer to a certain extent. It had to.
I wish we could have seen some of if the writer, the guy in charge, the writer that was developing it, if we could have got a look at some of those scripts, if he'd written, even a few early scripts, even general storylines, it would have been illuminating to see those, because then we might have had an idea of what he was going to do, as you say, to kind of catch up on the backstory. So, I mean, unfortunately, I don't know if we'll ever know, because I don't know if any of that material will ever make its way to the internet so the fans can actually take a look at it. But, I'm guessing, the writers must have had some idea, some ideas as to how to fill in the gap, so to speak. I don't know what they would have done. I mean, maybe they could have just done like a consolidation in the first episode or two of various plot threads, and if they wove a tight enough story together, they might have been able to mention some of the different races in the Stargate universe, and kind of brought them up to date as to what their standing was in the present time, 16 years later. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they would have pulled it off, but I would have liked to have at least seen them try, because we're so lacking in any kind of interesting media these days that I mean, most of the franchises are pretty much dead anyway. I don't have any interest in most of them anymore. I really just don't care at
Mm.
this point.
PvP, I do have a question. How did TNG roughly do it? Because I mean, that's the end up I'm going to. Because what the gap between TNG and the TOS series is what, roughly 15, 20 years, ain't it? Because my point is, did the TNG just not? Did they just skip over the TOS stuff, like, or did they give references every so often in the first season or so to say, okay, this is sort of what happened in the 75-year or 100-year time gap between the TOS era and the Next Generation era?
Yeah, well, there's quite a time gap. I remember in the first episode I think it's the end of the first episode, they bring McCoy in for a brief a couple of scenes towards the end of the episode. And, he's like supposed to be, I don't know how old at this point, like 100 and something years old. And of course, he's old and decrepit now, but he's still walking around on the new Enterprise. I can't remember why they brought him in, but I think that's probably the main reason is they just wanted to have a look back to the original series. So that was one way. I remember there was that episode of Next Generation where Scotty had been trapped in the transporter beam.
Yeah, it's called Relics.
Yeah, Relics. That was a great episode. So there were some nods to the original series here and there, definitely. I remember, the Naked Now is basically a remake of the Naked Time from the original series. So there were definite, throwbacks, look backs at the TOS original series. So I'm not saying I wouldn't say it was totally disconnected from the original show, but I don't think they dwelt on it too much. I mean, those few examples I would cite. There's not a huge number of references to the original show that come to mind offhand. So I think they would give the occasional nod to the original show, but I think for the most part, Next Generation kind of just developed its own scenario, its own universe, so to speak, because obviously things had changed a lot by then. Because I don't know how many years went by, but it was like, I don't know, probably 100 and something at least, I would guess. So
Yeah, well, you may find this odd for me to reference Star Trek again, but my point is that roughly the same time gap is happening between this new Stargate show that has been canceled to the old stuff that ended in 2010, and well, you're an old timer. When did the TOS series end? Was it 68 or 67 when it ended roughly?
69.
Mm. And then TNG appeared in what, 87 roughly?
Oh, I'd have to go and look it up.
Because if it was 87, that's an 18-year time gap between shows or series. And then they did a 100-year time gap or so for Next Generation. The reason why I brought the Star Trek up is because that's a similar scenario they have for the Stargate universe. If they didn't do this new Amazon new Stargate show, they would have to do either a lot of exposition, but then how would you want the expositions and just verbal dialogue, or would you want a few cutscenes to show the past for exposition, in other words?
As I say, I have no specific answer. I suppose they could do, maybe they could do flashbacks, or they could do expositions. I would try and stay away from something that was too wordy. But I have no idea. I mean, I'm not really a writer, so I don't know how you would incorporate the past with the present series. So that would be obviously a challenge. I'm just looking here. Next Generation premiered in September of 1987, so it was roughly 18 years after the original show ended.
Mm. Which 16 years they'll be for Stargate. I mean, because my point is, there are fan fictions, and I'm guilty of this as well. We created our own fan fiction spin-offs or stories about that, and I was thinking maybe reviving my Stargate idea for my channel, doing a HFR Nation history profile on the cover of the roughly 20 or so years. I mentioned this to you in a previous stream. Do a 20-year Jafar timeline, see how that nation developed over the 20 years since the show ended, and then
Uh-huh.
maybe do the Tari an episode like that. It's mainly going to be exposition with slideshows and all that. Maybe a few clips from the show if they don't get copyrighted down, probably. I could do that for my own little spin-off fan fiction. I mean, I may bounce off of the Stargate information that just got canceled a few days ago now.
Well, I'm just wondering, with all the AI available now, do you think you might be able to do like some AI episodes, like some short, maybe 10 or 15-minute episodes?
If you talk about just AI dialogue, most likely talking about slideshows or videos. I'm not. I'm not really sure how to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know much about AI, but I know some people are like creating visuals, like even like almost little animated type movies. I would say. So something to think about, I suppose, at least. Because if you develop the storyline to the extent where it actually is worth, putting it in episodic, um, context, into a sort of that kind of form, it might be interesting to see, to see it where it would go,
Mm. Yeah, because I would say during this time scale, I'm theorizing it out of my butt, but then I'm trying to fill in the gaps of what the writer may have done, but it's highly unlikely the writer would probably do this. If I had to guess, the writer of this new show probably would have tried to keep the series somewhat grounded to a point. But then I would just say this: if you ever see what Stargate ended off on, that's highly unlikely because Stargate, the humans of Earth are basically a superpower. They are a galactic power in the universe. So how do you bring that down to Earth? And they have defeated very powerful enemies already. So do you want to do I'm going to say a soft reboot? In other words, like, or try to make the humans of Earth somewhat limited again? I mean, they could have their massive BC 304 space fleets to help, but then you have to come up with creative ideas like how to create scenarios where Stargate teams or Stargate leadership is cut off from those resources to bring the show more grounded to more and more human level. But then, and what Stargate ended up on, that's highly unlikely.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, I imagine there wouldn't be much of the original cast that would participate either, because they're probably getting too old at this point. So you're going to have to you're going to have to cast new actors. So if you're getting a new group of actors, that's going to affect the dynamic as well. So that's another factor that you have to, think about when you're going to, restart the show. They could just kind of go with they could actually just, go with a soft reboot and just kind of, do some references to the previous shows, but not get into too many details. Maybe make passing references to about this event or that event, or maybe there was a big battle where some of the alien races, were basically obliterated. I don't know, but
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
well, your idea sort of is on point on what they may do, but but I'm theorizing here. But if they really want to do a more grounded Stargate show, they probably would have just said, okay, backstory of the Tau'ri and how they're back to square one. A more powerful enemy destroyed their fleet, and they had to reveal the Stargate program to the whole planet. That made them to focus on Earth and try to solve Earth problems. That made them isolated and all that, and then the galaxy had to move on beyond them. That caused major problems. Now the humans of Earth re-entered the galaxy through the Stargate program again, but they see the galaxy has radically changed in the last 20 or so years.
Yeah, well, I remember when Atlantis wrapped up. I think the last couple episodes they kind of basically took it back to Earth, right? Um,
Yes.
and you know, kind of wrapped it up quite nicely. I thought that series. Um, but you know, I don't know if you could take anything from that final couple of episodes of that series and maybe find a clue there as to how to move forward uh, into another show, another updated show, so to speak.
Yeah, or they could do another all semi Stargate universe idea. Do a human ship, a Atari ship, a BC-304, or a Stargate malfunction. Then by some fluke, the BC-304 hyperdrive is jammed on for like 3 months straight, and they're traveling out about 4 billion light years or 40 billion light years out of our own home galaxy. Then they're stranded into an unknown massive galaxy. They have to find a way home. Oh, and here's a plot contrivance I will do, but it has to happen. Their hyperdrive will conk out, burn out, because it's been going on for 3 months straight, and the hyperdrive burns out, and they can't find parts for it. Yeah, it's contrived, but hey, you gotta have a story somehow. The hyperdrive conks out, then they have to explore that galaxy, and about the size of our galaxy, 100,000 light years, with billions of stars and millions of planets. And by some coincidence, this unknown galaxy has a Stargate network, and you could do tech jargon saying, "Oh, the ancient seed ships borrowing ideas from universe." The seed ships of those planted Stargates in the galaxy for the Destiny crew to explore when they pass through there already. And then there's about 300 Stargates in that galaxy, at least, with Stargates on them with semi-habitable or barely habitable planets. Then that ship beams down to a planet that has a Stargate. Then they set up a semi-base or outpost. Then they explore that gate network. Basically, that is a soft reboot to a certain extent. But it's also a highly extended in universe lore as to why the humans of Earth are very limited in tech and resource-wise. In other words.
Well, yeah, if you did that idea and took them into another galaxy, basically, then you've got a clean slate to work with because if they're in a new galaxy, then that means a lot of the past species in the previous shows don't necessarily have to even be in that galaxy. You could create a whole new variety.
Sandbox.
Well, you could create a whole variety of new alien races that they come up against, right? Some friendly, some hostile, which might actually not be a bad way to go because then basically they're giving them a fresh starting point. So yeah, I could see that working actually.
And this is me just theorizing out of my ass, but hey, that could have been a very interesting idea if they went that way.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the reason why I said that massive distance into a new galaxy, because if you actually see the space of how long it takes a BC-304 class ship to travel to Pegasus galaxy, which is basically our neighboring dwarf galaxy, roughly 11 days to travel 3 million light years that far. That's a very long distance, but 11 days to travel that gap, that's actually a very quickly that ship. But then, like I said earlier, my idea is that they travel a very distant galaxy, very, very far away. Hence, you probably are getting a struggle out of that reference. Star Wars reference. Galaxy far, far away. Billions or trillions of light years away from our home galaxy. Then their hyperdrive burns out, they conk out, then they're stranded in that galaxy. They have to find parts or repair their hyperdrive to a limited extent, but they can't travel back home fast enough to in their lifetimes and all that.
Well, that would be pretty funny actually if they met Darth Vader in this other galaxy. That would be turning it into a comedy, though, I suppose. So probably not. But oh boy. Yeah, I think your scenario is actually probably the best one that we've discussed so far today. I think that could actually work quite well, because then you've got a fresh galaxy to create new civilizations in. So yeah, I could see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they'll be in the unknown galaxy, and they'll be well, at first a minor player. Then they have to develop their own infrastructure, own technology, or or develop a tech base to support their ship and all that, and advanced technology and all that. Then they have to find allies, and then find ways to reproduce their population and all that, and that takes years, if not decades, to build. Mm.
Well, yeah, I think it would be interesting if they eventually got an ally or two. Then that would take the pressure off. Then they could, get a base, set up a base somewhere on probably one of the friendly planets, and then take it from there in whatever direction, right? The writers
Mhm.
want to go. So yeah.
Alrighty, and now we're gonna transition over to our watch party half of this episode. Since I usually do 30 to 40 minutes in the watch part in this half, but if we're doing a watch party, I switch over to about the 40 or 50 minute mark for us to transition over to that part. So
Hmm.
PP, if you're not in my Cosby room already, you can go ahead and check in that way,
Yeah.
and hopefully my Cosby is working for us today. If not, we may have to do separate streaming tabs open from each of our ends. And while
Yeah.
you're doing that,
Hopefully.
I'll give my own little promotion here. If you guys want to help out my channel further, consider donating a few pennies or dollars to that link right there. My Patreon page. Membership starts as low as $3 a month if you want to check it out. As well, if you want to check out further, check out my merch store of items and logos. Maybe I can persuade PvP to pick up a few things. And then if you want to watch along with us, there's a costume link right there in the YouTube chat for us. And then if PvP is indeed in my costume room, we're going to start the episode of Star Trek Season 2, Episode 4, entitled Mirror Mirror, with We Meet the Evil Universe counterparts.
Yep.
In 3, 2, 1.
I love it. I love Nimoy, the way Nimoy steps back when the shockwave hits. That's hilarious.
So, are you saying Spock is a good driver or a lousy driver?
Well, no, the way he's standing there doing the report to Kirk when the wave hits the ship, and he's like, he has to steady himself, or he's almost going to fall down. I always thought that was a good move on Nimoy's part. Yeah, this is probably pretty much my favorite episode of the series.
Plus, it's always nice to see the actors cut loose and play their evil counterparts, huh?
It's just got so many good elements to it. You know, I can't think of anything I don't like about this episode. Let's put it that way. And there are episodes of Trek where I do have issues with.
Like the Lassus experiment or Lassus trap or whatever that episode is called.
Oh, there's numerous episodes where I find at least one flaw, but this episode to me is pretty much perfect.
I love her Uhura's uniform here.
Hell yeah. She looks good. It's interesting, actually. I thought we were watching the remastered effects when the ship flipped back and forth there, but it's almost like the original effects with the agonizer because I thought in the remaster they had like little blue flames shooting out, right? And there was none in that scene, so it was almost like the original, uh, original agonizer scene. Weird.
We're watching whatever source we're able to find, and if this source is the original footage, it is.
Yeah, but in the original, I don't think the Enterprise flipped, right? I think they added that. So interesting. It seemed like a combination of both to me. Weird.
A good excuse the Kirk puts on the spot, huh?
Was that?
A good explanation for them for their behavior.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Did her work out? That's why she has a semi six pack on her.
Well, I guess she probably was just in great shape because I mean they're filming one of these every 6 days or whatever. So even if she got the script a week before, she wouldn't have had much time to work out. So I just think she must have had that six pack, probably all the time whilst they were doing this series. We just never got to see it with the other costume, unfortunately. But yeah, she looks really good. She definitely is in great shape. Oh, back when women could be beautiful in Star Trek, eh? Nothing like that Academy show.
It's like, hey, baby, you want some fun?
I love Evil Sue. I love the scar. The scar is great. I love how the chair is different here too. The captain's chair is pretty cool looking.
The old planetary effects, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks to me like the original effects. I love the doors too with that sword through the world insignia. It's pretty awesome.
Spock knows something's off with his captain now, huh?
Oh yeah. Well, he's Spock after all. Even in this universe, he's Spock is a Spock.
The actor's
I gotta
enjoying
say,
this too much.
I, I gotta say, Evil Chekhov is pretty damned awesome. I gotta say.
The agonizing booth.
Yeah, one of the best scenes in the episode. Oh, Kirk is so sarcastic with McCoy there. I love it. It's called blood.
Uh-oh.
Hey, I love it. Scotty's not happy. Oh, here we go. That's a great scene. Heh. This is definitely the original effects. Because when they added the CGI stuff, they jazzed up the agony booth quite a bit. Still looks great though. The original effects still hold up. Hmm. I like how we see another Vulcan there in the background too. Don't see other Vulcans on the Enterprise too often. Hmm.
I always love the evil universes.
Well, this was probably one of the first times that we had an alternate universe on TV, right?
Hmm.
I don't think it had been done. I don't even know if it had been done before this episode. If it had, I'm sure not aware of it. I could see maybe in books, maybe in novels that had been done previously, but I don't think it had ever been, not ever on TV that I can remember. Oh, by the way, it's D-Day today, Dan. It's the anniversary of when James Doohan landed on Juno Beach and got got shot like 6 times and got his part of his finger shot off.
You're talking about Scotty here?
Yep, James Doohan, Canadian, stormed the Canadian Juno Beach on this day back back on D-Day, and only survived because of that cigarette case he had in his pocket.
Hello, sweethearts.
Yeah, man. I miss the days when they had attractive women on TV.
They probably still do. You just gotta know. You gotta know where to find them.
Yeah, well, Starfleet Academy sure wasn't the place to look. But it seems like, it seems like a woman that's feminine is like a no-no in Hollywood now. And it's like, women could still be feminine and strong. Like Uhura is very strong, but she's still totally a woman. She's still sexy and all that. By the way, you know the story about this sequence, do you, Dan?
I don't think so, unless we discussed it before. Did we?
I don't remember if we discussed it before, but they have some kissing stuff here, and she was diagnosed with strep throat before they filmed this. So they didn't want Shatner to get infected, because if you've ever had strep throat, you do not want to have it. Because I had it once and I ended up in the hospital for 3 days on a penicillin drip in bed because it was that painful. It was so bad. I was taking, like the top painkillers, and I started hallucinating. It was so bad. So they took me to the hospital. Anyway, I'll watch this first.
Tell me, is strep throat like a very bad sore throat in layman's terms?
Yeah, it's like you have no idea. It's if you had a sore throat, that's one thing. But if you've had strep, that's a whole different. Strep throat is like the alternate evil universe of sore throats. It's nasty. I was so sick. As I said, I was taking maximum pain pills every 4 hours or whatever. Didn't do a damn thing. And after about 2 days, I started hallucinating because I was just the strep was just it was basically, I don't know, it was getting bad. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever died from strep throat, but I was really out of it. So they took me to the hospital, and as soon as they saw my throat and diagnosed it, it's like, yeah, you're staying here. Put me in a hospital bed, put me on an intravenous drip in my arm of penicillin. And I was there for like 3 days until I felt better. It was nasty.
Well, PP, no one probably died of it if you're able to eat and drink it through it.
Oh, you can't. No. Eat and drink, forget that. It's hard to even swallow. My throat was so swollen. I don't know if I could even. I can't remember because it's back when I was in my late was the late teens, early 20s, something around that. No, you don't even want to swallow. It hurts too much. But anyway, my story is the actress. I think it's Barbara Luna was her name here. She came down with a case of strep. So the producers had, this is the longest filmed episode in TOS, because she had to go on leave for 3 weeks until her strep had cleared up and healed, because there's no way they were going to let Shatner kiss her when she has strep throat, because they knew Shatner would be out of action too if they did that.
So it is contagious, in other words.
Yes, yeah. If you kiss somebody, yeah. So that's why it took an extra 3 weeks to film Mirror Mirror, because she had to recuperate, and they didn't want to risk Shatner getting infected, because he probably would have. So yeah, this is the longest to film episode of the original series, as far as I'm aware, from what I've read over the years. Anyway, of course, when she was better and cleared of any health risk, Shatner was right there with his usual kissing action. Shatner must have had in his contract he had to kiss chicks every couple episodes.
Ooh.
Sula's like, oh, I hadn't thought about that.
If I was Kirk, I was saying enjoy this, Kirk, right now, please.
Yeah.
Or how fast can
I,
Kirk do it?
I'm sure Shatner must have had in his contract he had to kiss a woman every so many episodes. Man, talk about Shatner having a charmed life, though, eh, Dan?
Mm.
How many
Wait,
people get to live a life like this guy did?
probably
And
really, and
he's still going too.
yeah, and all of us want to live the life of Captain Kirk.
Well, as they say, when it comes to Captain Kirk, women wanted to be with him, and guys just wanted to be him. Of course, I might change that saying these days, but I'm not even going to go there.
Oh, stop it, PvP.
You know what I'm saying, though? The times we're living in, Dan, it's just gotten so confused and weird. I loved it back then when life was simple, man, and it made sense. Huh. Hmm.
some fans they love Kirk so much they actually hate him because of how he acts with women and how women act around him.
I think it's the whole thing against tradition, Dan. It's like you look at patterns. They want to. They're attacking traditional entertainment. They're attacking our beloved series. Our traditional franchises under attack. The nuclear family, as they used to call it, is under attack. So much of our culture and our Western civilization is basically under attack. I see patterns of it everywhere when I'm paying attention. I don't actually want to look at it a lot of the time because I don't want to get depressed or you know I don't like to be in a negative place, but there's a lot of stuff out there that does have a negative feeling to it. I'm still amazed at all the effects, like even with the elevators, just it just works. It just looks so good. And this show didn't have a huge multi-million dollar budget. You're probably talking about 176,000 an episode in season 2. And I know that's 1967 dollars or whatever. It's still it's not a fortune.
Times that by about 20, and you get today's prices per episode probably.
But it's not the tens and tens and tens of millions of some of the crap, you know, that they've made in the last 20 years with the Trek name. Oh, this is good. Perfect scene.
One of the other crewmen right there in the chair is on her side.
Well, look at the one red shirt. They're smirking. They're laughing at Sulu. Look at them. It's great. They're like, "Wow, what a loser." Oh, and then they come to attention. You notice that? Oh, here we go. That's great stuff. Another thing I love about this show is the fight scenes are incredibly awesome. So well choreographed. Never had nothing like this in Next Generation. Can you see Picard being in a fight like that? Oh boy,
Nope, he would not.
that's the problem. If you grew up
Picard,
watching if I grew up watching this, Picard really did seem like a wimpy guy.
yeah, Picard he's a words man, not a physical man.
Yeah, but Kirk was pretty good at words too. I mean, he's destroyed a few computers just talking to him, right? Bum, 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 bum. Good music of this one too. Yeah.
That stupid grin on Sulu is always so good, huh?
It's great. Totally great. I love seeing Evil Sue and Chekhov in this. That's one of the things I love about this episode. They're both great because the actors just play it perfectly. Like the whole, as I say, there's nothing in this episode that I don't like, which is probably why it's probably my overall my favorite. There's a few episodes that are just about at this level for me, like Doomsday Machine, for instance, so it'd be right up there. But I like this one more than Doomsday because Doomsday is more like a Kirk episode. Well, Kirk and Spock episode more. This has more of the cast in it, which I enjoy. Well, famous last words, McCoy.
And after they leave, Spock wakes up, huh?
Yeah, well, McCoy does this hypo spray. Seriously, how many times did McCoy hypo spray somebody and solve everything? Pretty hilarious.
Kirk had to leave the one man that Spock can easily get information out of, huh?
Yeah, McCoy's pretty easy. He's a pretty easy mark for Spock, that's for sure. Ooh. I never noticed how darkly lit this sequence is. It's like they didn't pay their electric bill or something. Oh, this is great.
Yeah, cat fight, huh?
I think this is Uhura's best episode of the series too, which is another reason I love it. She gets more good scenes in this than I think any other episode. And she looks great in that costume. Man, talk about Uhura's ripped, man. She looks great. I mean, ripped in a very feminine, sexy way, of course. Here we go. That must be one of the few times since Scotty calls him Jim. Oh, of course. That's why it's so dark. Spock had everything shut down. Yeah, that's better.
I prefer a realist approach, a middle ground between tyranny and freedom.
Definitely one of the greatest scenes in Star Trek here. Last couple of minutes in the transporter room are just doesn't get better than that. But Kirk was right. Kirk was right, though. The Empire did need to be overthrown. Because as he said, it was 240 years of just a waste. I gotta say, they always gave Spock the best insults.
And like it's the lady.
Yep.
He's like, "Do I know you?"
Kirk is thinking, wasn't I just tongue kissing you the other day?
I wonder how many illegitimate children Kirk has running around in the galaxy.
Yeah, that could be an interesting speculation. Yes.
Yeah,
I love.
Spock's like, right.
I just love the eye. I don't know how Nimoy did that eyebrow thing. I sure can't do it.
All right, and that concludes our Star Trek episode watch party half. Alrighty, and let's see, what's the timestamp on my live stream here? 122, okay. And let's say hello to that Kevin's Theme Park Adventures. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Oh, we are going to exit Cosme, I'm guessing. Should I just exit now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, just wanted to check. And I'm done with that. Okay, so yeah, I didn't see anybody in the chat on the Cosme today, unfortunately. But I see Kevin. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin. All right, PvP, I'm going to start wrapping it up. So if you want to give you a little self-promotion, and if you want my intro for my channel, I could give you a copy of it for if you do live streams, unless you want to make your own intro.
Yeah, you could. You can send it to me on the Facebook because we have the messenger going. So, by the way, did you ever see the Star Trek Continuous one where they followed it up on Mirror Mirror?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's really quite good. Star Trek Continuous. I think they did 11 episodes. You know, it was a fan production, but man, for a fan production, it was really well done. Like, you know, the cast was pretty good. I got to say, they actually had James Doohan's son playing the engineer. So they had, you know, they had Scotty's, you know, real life son, so to speak, playing the engineer, playing Scotty basically. He was playing his father's character, which is quite hilarious when you think about it. And he did it well too. And yeah, it was really good. The guy playing Kirk really did it well. Guy playing Chekhov was really good too, if I remember. Very good though, and they basically did a follow up. They followed up with the scene at the end of this episode, Mirror Mirror, where they're in the transporter chamber, and then they continued on with how Spock dealt with what Kirk had told him about changing, you know, starting a sort of a revolution within the Empire, and it's a very good episode actually. It's a very good series overall. Because the first one I remember I watched, they had followed up with the Apollo episode in TOS. You know, remember the one with Apollo? God, what was that one called?
Yes.
But yeah, they got, and get this, they had the same actor reprise his role as Apollo all those years later. And I believe last time I checked, he was still alive. I think he's in his 90s now. But they actually got the same actor to come back and play Apollo again, which I thought was incredibly awesome for a fan production. But it was so well done. I mean, the sets are identical to the Enterprise TOS sets. The special effects, you know, the Enterprise, everything looks just perfect. It was extremely well done, and I'll send you a link to it now, instead, because it is on YouTube. I think this whole series is probably still up here. I'll send you a link to that episode to your Facebook.
Yeah. I have seen the Apollo episode. I have seen it.
It's pretty good. You know, I enjoyed it. You know, and it was nice to see. Was it Michael Forrest, the actor? I can't remember his name, but he was still, you know, still good. Still good. Anyway, you wanted to wrap it up. Okay.
So, hey, to help you with your little promotion, what type of music do you cover? Your favorite artists and what decades do you cover, and all that. But give it a brief summary of your artists, your music, and what decades you cover, please.
Okay. Probably a tiny bit of 50s. It's mostly 60s, 70s, and 80s are the the 3 decades I mainly cover because those were the decades when I was a kid and a teenager and in my 20s. Those were the decades that I remember the most as really loving the music of those times. Uh, I still think that those are the 3 decades where there were more really excellent bands going around that existed than. I mean, I think you could take any one of those decades, and there's more good bands from pick a decade, and it's. I haven't seen much in the. Let's put it this way: the last decade I cover is a bit of the 1990s with a bit of grunge like Nirvana and some Smashing Pumpkins stuff. But after that, for the last 26 years, ever since 2000 hit, basically music went right down the drain for me personally. There's a few good younger bands I've heard that I enjoyed, but overall, it's few and far between as far as great stuff. So anyway, so that's my main focus is 60s, 70s, 80s. But I got tons. I got lots of David Bowie because I'm a big Bowie fan. But I've got stuff by Elvis Costello. I've got stuff by the Cars. I've got stuff by the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. All kinds of classic bands. So just go. There's probably thousands of hours if I totaled up the amount of time these videos and albums are on there. So you could just spend many days just checking it out. So please do.
Alrighty. And as for me, I'm the Sci-Fi Historian. On this channel, I cover different sci-fi TV shows or movies. I do cover lore and other franchises depending how well versed I am in them, like we just discussed on this live stream. I do my watch parties on sci-fi related topics, usually on Saturdays between 2 and 4 p.m. I do the watch parties on sci-fi on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I usually have a co-host for that, but sadly he's unavailable to do that, so I will be doing that solo from now on, sadly. And I try to upload a new video on this channel towards the end of the beginning of next week. I do have another channel called Ultimate Sorcerer Dan. That one I cover Japanese anime or cartoons in general. We're right now in the middle of the season 4 of Shield Hero. And I do the watch parties there on Fridays, 8 p.m. Pacific time, usually after Gorilla's Walton streams. And beyond that, every new watch hour or watch minute causes some more content for you guys. So hopefully make a few dollars off YouTube. Until next time, everyone, live long and prosper. May the force be with you. And good afternoon, day or night, wherever you are.